Howdy, y'all. I'm Brylan. Trump says we now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. Now, a lot of people are taking issue with the fact that Trump said we. We? What does it mean by we? Now, if this is your first time hearing about what's going on with Israel and Iran, I understand how we can come off, but Trump's been using we and I since this whole thing began. In fact, this is exactly what he said. We now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. Iran had good sky trackers and other defensive equipment, and plenty of it, but it doesn't compare to American-made, conceived, and manufactured stuff, in quotations. Nobody does it better than good old USA. Real quick, would you consider hitting that thumbs up button? You know, when you like this video, it'll get pushed out to more people, and it would really help spread the truth. Now, this is probably why you're seeing Iran, reports are coming out that Iran is more open to essentially accepting a deal. Their sky coverage, their ability to maneuver is essentially completely wiped out. So what do they have left? But he also said this: we know exactly where the so-called supreme leader is hiding. He is an easy target, but is safe there. We are not going to take him out. And then he goes on, at least not for now. But we don't want missiles shot at civilians or American soldiers. Our patience is wearing thin. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, that's what a lot of people are saying, is that no boots on the ground, no American military aid or funding for the war unless they attack, American soldiers, outposts, American soil. And in fact, Trump named the only thing that will be acceptable for Iran to do. And it's this: complete, unconditional surrender. Essentially, this is dividing conservatives. You're seeing MAGA essentially now go to war with each other. Those who support Israel, and that we should be defending Israel, and the U.S. should be completely involved in this war. And those who say no new wars, no involvement, no funding. The U.S. should have no part of this whatsoever. In fact, I'd love to know how you personally feel about all of this in the comment section. And Trump went on to say this: I have not reached out to Iran for peace talks in any way, shape, or form. This is just more highly fabricated fake news. If they want to talk, they know how to reach me. They should have taken the deal that was on the table. Would have saved a lot of lives. This is what Trump actually had to say on Iran at G7. Listen to this.
Israel is doing very well, as you probably noticed. And I gave Iran 60 days, and they said no. And the 61st, you saw what happened. Day 61. So I'm in constant touch. And as I've been saying, I think a deal will be signed, or something will happen, but a deal will be signed. And I think Iran is foolish not to sign one. Well, I think Iran basically is at the negotiating table. They want to make a deal. And as soon as I leave here, we're going to be doing something. But I have to leave here. I have, this commitment. I have a lot of commitments. I have a commitment to a lot of countries, including the UK, where we just signed our deal.
Trump loves deals. Trump wants a deal with Iran. I believe that. I don't think he's pushing for the Lindsey Graham type regime change slobber that warmongers love to push for. Those regime changes have always worked so well in the past. Now, of course, a regime change could be beneficial, of course. I mean, what's in there now? Bad. But does that mean that the change that could replace it isn't bad? Like automatically because it's different? It's just assuming that the regime isn't replaced by the same religious ideologies that call for the death and destruction of the entire world, because that's what is essentially behind this. And getting a regime change that isn't a part of that same religious ideology isn't likely. And a regime change might start off all warm and fuzzy, but the religious ideology always comes back to devour. Now, there are a lot of people within on the right, conservatives, that are furious. And you'll see people saying that they regret voting for Trump. No new wars, we said. And now he's dragged us into World War III, as if it's already begun, World War III. That's not the case right now. No matter how you feel about what's going on, that's not the case, thank God. World War III has not started. But this has fractured the base quite a bit. Unfortunately, it's terrible. But one thing that people are saying is that Trump has betrayed MAGA, America, the U.S., conservatives, Republicans. But one thing you have to be aware of, no matter how you feel about the U.S.'s involvement in the Middle East right now, no matter what side you take, you have to understand that this is literally something that Trump has ran on for years. In fact, he campaigned on it for his second term. In 2023, 2024, and 2025, he has not changed what he has thought and what he has said about this. He has ran on this. In fact, here's some video from him campaigning. This was back in 2023.
And that was a license for them to make nuclear weapons. And you cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon.
And once again,
don't let Iran have nuclear weapons. That's my only thing I have to tell you today. Don't let them have it. They would have never had them. Too destructive, too powerful. They can't have it. But I wanted to make a deal with them. No nuclear weapons. You can't have nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons are the single greatest threat to this world, to the whole world.
And, well, you get the point. Trump ran on this. Trump has been very vocal about this. And that is exactly what he is saying today. Iran should not have nuclear weapons. I happen to agree that it would probably be beneficial to the entire world for Iran to not have nuclear weapons. Now, you actually have people saying that who cares if Iran has nuclear weapons? I voted for Trump to be the president of the United States of America, not the world. As if being an isolationist means allowing the world to just do whatever they want, even if it means complete and utter destruction of the United States as a result. Now, I totally understand not wanting the U.S. to get involved in another new war, especially in the Middle East. I don't want any new wars either. In fact, that's what we voted for. That's another thing that Trump ran on. No new wars. Unlike Lindsey Graham, whose first response was game on. You could see him just like jumping out of his seat like, yes! Vance said this, look, I'm seeing this from the inside, and I am admittedly biased towards our president and my friend, but there's a lot of crazy stuff on social media, so I wanted to address some things directly on the Iran issue. First, POTUS has been amazingly consistent over 10 years that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons, which is, it's true. He has said this for a very long time. So people thinking that Trump saying this now is a betrayal, they just weren't paying attention. Over the last few months, he encouraged his foreign policy team to reach a deal with the Iranians to accomplish this goal. The president has made it clear that Iran cannot have uranium enrichment, and he said repeatedly that this would happen one of two ways, the easy way or the other way. Second, I have seen a lot of confusion over the issue of civilian nuclear power and uranium enrichment. These are distinct issues. Iran could have civilian nuclear power without enrichment, but Iran rejected that. Meanwhile, they've enriched uranium far above the level necessary for any civilian purpose. They've been found in violation of their non-proliferation obligations by the International Atomic Energy Agency, which is hardly a right-wing organization. It's one thing to want civilian nuclear energy. It's another thing to demand sophisticated enrichment capacity. And it's still another to cling to enrichment while simultaneously violating basic non-proliferation obligations and enriching right to the point of weapons-grade uranium. I have yet to see a single good argument for why Iran needed to enrich uranium well above the threshold for civilian use. I've yet to see a single good argument for why Iran was justified in violating its non-proliferation obligations. I've yet to see a single good pushback against the IAEA findings. Meanwhile, the president has shown remarkable restraint in keeping our military focus on protecting our troops and protecting our citizens. He may decide he needs to take further action to end Iranian enrichment. That decision ultimately belongs to the president. And of course, people are right to be worried about foreign entanglement after the last 25 years of idiotic foreign policy. Amen to that. But I believe the president has earned some trust on this issue. And having seen this up close and personal, I can assure you that he is only interested in using the American military to accomplish the American people's goals. Whatever he does, that is the focus. Now, we saw what happened with Elon Musk and Donald Trump just a couple of weeks ago. The huge blow up, the riff that happened there. Well, now we're seeing it with Tucker Carlson. Now, there was some reconciliation between Musk and Trump. However, this split, I think, might go a little deeper. And, where we saw Tucker Carlson go on Bannon's show and talk about what he thinks about this war in Israel. I don't know how much I can play of this. Now, I really highly recommend you go watch what Tucker Carlson had to say on Bannon's show. You can easily look it up and watch it for yourself. Whether you agree with him or not, I think it's beneficial to hear what he is saying. But it ended up with Trump responding with, "Somebody please explain to kooky Tucker Carlson that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon." Now, once you have a nickname like this from Trump, it's over. I mean, the nickname is the nail in the coffin. And so to see this split happening, it's tragic. But no matter what wars are going on around us physically, we have to understand that there is a much darker battle happening spiritually. And we are actually warned about this in Ephesians chapter 6, where we are told to put on the armor of God. And it explains what the armor of God is. Just an absolutely beautiful part of Scripture here. I mean, it's all beautiful, right? But go just the encouragement of the armor of God and how we can be shielded by God and stay steadfast in the truth because of that. I recommend you go read Ephesians 6. But listen to this, verse 10. "Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil." Verse 12, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places." As much as we would love to see peace, no war, everything to just be peachy, that's not going to be the case until the Lord returns. And that's just the cold, hard truth of the matter. But in the meantime, we can put on the armor of God so that we are not caught up in these things unwittingly, ignorantly, and that we have the ability to be shielded and protected by whatever battle is raging around us. But hey, let me know your thoughts about all this in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, join this community. I would love to hear from you on a regular basis. And please hit that thumbs up button, when you like this video, to get pushed out to more people, and it would really help spread the truth. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.